Go for it.
All right. Welcome back to Nerdy Chic Universe. We're here at Omni Expo 2015 for its second year. And today, well, right now, I have Mike McFarland, who directed Attack on Titan and also has directed FullMetal Alchemist in the past. And you haven't been back to a convention here in Orlando for a long time. How does it feel to be back at one?
It's awesome. I miss Florida, and I was happy to have the opportunity to come back. So it's cool that the Omni folks have me out.
And I know you've been to a lot of conventions across the United States. What has been your favorite moment?
I'm not sure if there's a particular favorite moment. The dub premiere of Titan at Anime Boston was pretty awesome. There was a film premiere of the Conqueror of Shambhala film at Anime Expo several years ago, and that was a lot of fun. Mostly premiere type stuff. The Evangelion movie premieres, those have always been fun as well. A lot of enthusiasm with those types of events, and so those kind of stand out.
Right. And what has been the weirdest or most interesting thing that someone has brought to you to sign an autograph signing?
I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff that's odd to me. Pocky boxes, their cast, their laptop, their phone, their camera, their skin. Yeah, ongoing list of odd things besides paper.
Right. Or posters or wall scrolls.
Sure, sure.
You've done voice acting and you have done directing. Which one do you like doing most?
I don't know if I like one more than the other. They both offer different aspects of fulfillment for me and you know, entertainment and enjoyment for me as well. With directing, getting to shape something based off of someone else's material and getting the chance to bring that to a new audience of people trying to tell that same story is fun. And then also on the flip side, just being an actor for someone else and not having the responsibility of the show on my shoulders, like just my character and just my dialogue and that sort of things. That's freeing like I said, of the responsibility, but it allows me more exploration and just focus on the one character. And that's great as well.
So how did you become the director of Attack on Titan?
For the voice director of Attack on Titan, Funimation has always been really good about giving me heads up on specific projects that are coming down the pipe. I think for that particular one, I had already heard about it and had watched a little bit of it and expressed my interest, which really doesn't guarantee anything. It just lets them know that, you know, if it so happened and, you know, if the cards all fell into place properly and the little Tetris pieces of the schedule could work out where I could work on it, then that would be awesome. And it did, so that was great.
Did you think it would be as successful here like in Japan?
I knew that the story was really awesome and that a lot of people were already into it in its native language, and the animation's beautiful. I knew that the dub, as long as we, you know, told the story properly and put a lot of effort into it, whatever else, that it should reach a whole new broad audience of people that would enjoy it as well. As far as it being, you know, less popular, more popular, as popular, or whatever, I don't really know the numbers behind that. I know that when it was on Toonami, it was usually between like 1 million and 1.5 million people would watch it premiere every weekend.
Yeah.
Which for something that's on at like, you know, 10, 30, 11, or 12 at night on a Saturday is a pretty good number of people.
Especially around Omni last year, they even shown Matthew Mercer's first appearance in the anime since he was a guest last year. Was it hard casting anybody in the show for the characters?
There were some people that were easier to cast based off of the auditions that I had. That was a long audition period. It was about a 4 days of in-house auditions of hearing someone every 10 to 15 minutes, and then a whole bunch of email submissions from actors who I'd worked with before, but I didn't want them to buy a plane ticket to come audition just for one show and then fly back. So a lot of the LA folks and New York folks and Houston folks and Austin folks and places where that type of work is done before, and people that I've worked with, or referrals from other people, like Bryce, for instance. I had not worked with Bryce before. He was referred to me by Patrick Seitz, and other people had spoken very highly of him as well. So when he auditioned, it was one of the first times I'd ever even heard him. I've heard a little bit of other work that he's done, I guess through Sword Art, because my friend Jeremy's on that show as well, and I wanted to check it out. But I wasn't really familiar with what he could do. So,
Right.
Let's see. I don't think anyone was particularly more difficult than anyone else. It was a bit of a long day process of putting all the pieces together and seeing which voice fit each role and what all sounded good as an ensemble. That took
because that's like a cast of about what, 10 to 12 characters, like
for just the main parts. I mean, there's also like probably 50-ish something characters.
So
Almost like fairy tale.
So being the voice director in that particular instance, that's going to be just a long process.
But I've also been the voice director, as we mentioned earlier, of FullMetal Alchemist and Alchemist Brotherhood, and those have a wide cast. And then also, although I still look over it, I haven't worked on it in about a year or so. For 7 or 8 years, I was in charge of the dub for One Piece, and that's much, much, much bigger and more broad as far as the cast goes.
It's still going.
It's still going too.
And still introducing new characters pretty much every chance they get. So
continuing to find new people for those types of roles is an ongoing challenge. But yes, for Titan, knowing that specific amount of episodes and those specific characters and what it was that we needed, a lot of time was put into it. We're very pleased with the results.
Yep, it sounds very good from what I've been seeing. I only have part 1. I'm going to plan on getting part 2 in the future.
Very cool.
Yep. What has been the funniest thing that happened while recording Titan? Like the funniest story
or a good story you have from like any time you guys have been in the booth.
Yeah.
I don't recall anything specific. The show is so dark and heavy-handed that we tried not to cut up a lot while we were recording so that we could stay in the right mood for the show. Sometimes it became a little too brooding or whatever else, and we joke around just for the sake of, not leaving angry and depressed and crying and whatever else from the sessions.
Right.
But I think for the most part, it was just, task at hand and try to stay focused and try to stay in character and stay in the mind of the character while we were recording. Yeah.
Or a good story you might have from the FullMetal Alchemist set. I know there was probably a few opportunities for you guys to have a little bit of fun there.
Yeah, here and there. From Alchemist, I mean, there's probably the same stories are up in several previous interviews, but there's one where Aaron Dismuke was recording and he fell off the stool while he was in the recording booth and like trapped between the wall and the chair and trying not to make me aware that he was screwing around and it messed up. And there's Vic trying to get the proper sound of having his cheek inflamed from being punched out, and he had those nasty white donuts caked inside of his mouth for a while. Just those types of stories that have been told and retold. I mean, they are very funny. I don't have any new ones.
And also kicking Aaron's bowl around.
Yeah, you would sometimes ding it a little bit too hard into the microphone, and we have it set really loud so we can catch all those reverberated sounds, and it hurts for the monitors to come blasting through.
Since it has live action movies, will Funimation dub the Attack on Titan live action versions?
I have no idea. I know that live action dubs always look and sound, different than an anime dub. With anime, you don't have human mouths that you're dealing with. Everyone's drawn to be human, whatever else, but there's a certain amount of leeway with what the facial movements look like and sound like. With a live action dub, unless you go to, years and years worth of trouble trying to adapt the phonetics of what the mouth looks like, it's still going to look like it's been, a voiceover has been done to it.
Right.
So it really depends on what they want to do with it, how they want to approach it, things like that, and if it even, you know, comes our way. So I don't have any information on it at this point. I'm just speaking from my past experience of working on